All right, so I want to talk a little bit about AI, and I'm titling this piece, "In the Age of AI, You've Either Got a Blue Collar, a Mic, or Equity." And um, I think it's normal for anytime there's a massive technology overhaul or innovation like AI, it throws a lot of things up into flux and makes people question not only what the future is going to look like, but what their life is going to look like if, for example, they're automated or tech gets rid of whatever they're doing to make a living. And so, my thoughts. I'm going to share my thoughts of how I'm seeing things moving forward and what I'm choosing to focus on, and how and within the context of AI showing up. So. Start with the blue collar thing. It's kind of, I think a lot of people have kind of realized it's a little bit of a universal justice that, a lot of blue collar jobs or trades jobs, people that work with their hands, build stuff physically, they got a lot of, flack over the years. It was always, the respectable path in life was to go to university and get a job in an air-conditioned office. And now it's funny how those jobs seem to be the most under the magnifying glass or under threat because of AI and sort of the cerebral roles that people have might be really automated out. So I'll start with the caveat and the admission that I think there will continue to be white collar jobs that exist. There'll continue to be professional services jobs. I don't think they're going to disappear. There's still going to be rooms and roles for people coordinating multiple jobs across different disciplines or thinking strategically. But yeah, of course, everyone always talks about, and I agree, which is that they're going to be using AI still a lot in those roles. But with that said, we don't really know. AI agents could really, every day that you wake up, AI is as badly developed as it will ever be. And the next day it gets better and gets better and better and better. So, with the emergence of AI agents, I don't think anyone really knows what how quickly those will jump into a business and start taking over things. It's already happening to a certain degree, but I still think there will be some high level or very specific roles for professional services people to have. But with that said, I think the people who are most safe right now are the blue collar people, and there's a lot of young people now, a lot of talk. You've got the guy of Dirty Jobs, Mike Rowe. He always talks about, and I think he has maybe a foundation or some sort of nonprofit that does scholarships for people going to trade schools or something like that. But you see a lot of young people now choosing to go into the trades instead of deciding to go to university and may or may not get an ROI on, gender studies or whatever other neo-Marxist fake degrees that they're out there, and then just going to Starbucks after that. So there's a lot. I think a lot of people are choosing the trades now. There's a lot of interest in private equity and blue collar and trades. I think it's seen as a safer bet given all the flux in technology and other professional services spots. So, I think that robotics will eventually start to move in on the blue collar stuff? Probably, but again, I think the cerebral type of work, the threat to that is here now, and I don't want to look at it just as a threat. I think there's, you can look at things as being a threat or a tool. So I think a lot of people are going to use AI as a tool, whether that's within their job or they'll figure out a way to start their own business instead of being an employee using AI. I'll get to that a little bit in the equity part, but now I think I don't know. You see the Tesla robots and stuff like that, and the idea of them working on a manufacturing plant or something like that. Will they eventually be, doing roofing and building houses and fixing air conditioning and plumbing? Maybe. Will there be 3D printed houses or some aspect of houses that are 3D printed? Yeah. But I think that's a lot further off than the mental stuff. So that's my thought on the blue collar. I think it's a safer bet for a lot of young people these days. And then you got the mic. So you got a microphone. So you can categorize this in the personal branding, influencer, entertainer side of things. Also include live events for this too. So, I think more and more personal brands will become, important. They already are important. You've got people launching, billion-dollar brands like Kylie Jenner, for example, just based off of her influence. And then you've got, entertainers like Mr. Beast on YouTube who produces incredibly well produced videos and then launches brands off of the back end of that. But not necessarily to that level of scale or fame. You have influencers and people that have personal brands in micro niches that become famous in their own pocket of the world based on their online presence or their public persona, and then they use that attention and that deal flow or that opportunity and leverage it into other into financial opportunities like sponsorships or clients or deals or whatever their service is, and using that using platforms like that. I think with AI coming in and a lot of specialty knowledge being able to be researched in the snap of a finger, the personal aspect of things I think is going to continue to be big. There's you may be able to ask AI to do certain tasks or come up with certain ideas, but the personal aspect of people who have been there, done that, and then put themselves out there to share those things are going to continue to be, have opportunities come their way because they're trusted, they have, they're known, and things like that. So having a mic, having a platform, having an audience, or having some aspect of being able to publicly share what you do, or entertain people, or be able to bring people together physically to a physical space. Again, coming back to that personal feel or touch that a lot of people are going to be craving in a larger AI future. That's going to continue to be an advantage and continue to create a level of insurance around income, business, and things like that. So having a mic will be important in a world where people will want to have that human part, that human element. And then lastly, equity. So as simply as I can put it, owning things, owning a business, owning whether you're a freelancer or you're an owner operator of an entire business that's more systemized and has employees or has tech or has AI. I mean, the short aspect of it is AI is a threat if you are a employee, but it is an asset or a tool if you own equity, because it just becomes another option for you to deploy an asset in your business to help grow the business, and it's a little bit agnostic as to whether that growth is done by a person or AI. And if AI can do it better, it's going to do it. So having equity in whatever you're doing will continue to be a big advantage or a big insurance against an AI future, because you work with AI. You don't care if AI takes over something, and in fact, in many cases, it'll probably be preferable due to a lot of the complications or costs that come with human capital. So however that evolves in the future, there's talk of the first $1 billion one-person company, maybe on the horizon. Someone who learns to leverage all of these AI agents or these different new technical tools that's coming. However the future is going to look, if you're concerned about your paycheck or your financial future or your security, having equity, being an owner is going to play a massive role in retaining some of that autonomy and that certainty. So that's where I'm really focused. I'm looking at acquiring different businesses or acquiring parts of different businesses and using marketing or copywriting, some of the skill sets I've developed over the years to not only find clients, but to look for long-term growth partnership opportunities, or to fully acquire businesses with my partners, because I think that's really where a lot of the future value is gonna consolidate to owners. Like it or not, I think that's the kind of future we're looking at, where there's going to be hopefully it blossoms into a beautiful thing where every person is their own business in a better way than it exists now. But there also could be a future where, like wealth and finances will continue to consolidate to the top % of society, and without equity, I don't see how it's going to be possible to have that sort of chance at wealth or even financial security. I think it's really going to come down to everyone needing to have some aspect of entrepreneurship to what they do. And when I say everyone, I don't mean everyone. I don't mean 100% of people. There will still be jobs in the future, I'm sure, that will be run by people. And it may take a really long time before society looks insanely different than it does now. But yeah, that's one way I think that's really going to be a fortress against any sort of AI change that's coming in the future. So that's my thoughts. Blue collar, mic, or equity. I'm looking forward to seeing how things develop from here. And like I said, I don't think anyone knows exactly what it's going to look like, but you can try to guess how things will evolve based on what we're already seeing now and based on what the capabilities are of AI already here in 2025. But yeah, physically built stuff, or stuff that robots won't do for a really long time. And when I say really long time, I mean maybe 30 years, 40 years. Could be sooner than that, I don't know. But definitely longer than for example, a paralegal or basic marketing assistant, or basic researcher, for example. Those are on the chopping block. So that microphone, having a personal aspect to what you do, whether that's connecting with people through a personal brand, or you entertain them, or influencer has a lot of bad connotations, but just someone like a public figure who's able to generate value from that public facing nature of what they do. or running live events where people want to connect in person in an increasingly disconnected world. And then, lastly, equity. I think just being an owner, having an ownership mindset, or looking at opportunities through the lens of ownership, and not just looking for a quick paycheck or a quick buck or a quick client engagement or a project, but looking at things of like, what do I want to work on in the long term? What would I want to build value in or help grow from an ownership perspective, to where I'm agnostic to whether AI or a person helps me build that value. So that's how I'm looking at things. Let me know your thoughts below, and thanks for listening.